Hi, everyone. Welcome to a wrap up of week 4, Teaching Online Reflections on Practice. This week was all about course design and all the challenges that we face when designing a course. And there's a lot to designing a course, from the learning outcomes all the way to the end product with assessment, which we'll talk about now move into next week. So this is a very small group we have this time around. There's only about, at the time of this video, about 10 of you that have posted to the discussion so far. So there's not a whole lot. But a couple of themes, some of you talked about meeting those learning outcomes and making sure you're designing your course with the learning outcomes in mind. And sometimes you have control over the learning outcomes and sometimes you don't. And I mentioned in the discussion too that, if you don't have control over your learning outcomes and perhaps maybe they're not measurable, they don't look the way you want them to look, it is possible for you maybe then to create unit level outcomes that would be measurable. So you can work with them and then you can go back to your department and say, now that you have all that knowledge, hey, we need to revisit these learning outcomes. But also, a couple of you mentioned use of technology, use of video, integrating technology into your course, and that's always a design challenge too. How much is too much? How much is not enough? Questioning how much of an expert do I have to be? A lot of those things that we talked about last week. And then this week, really thinking about that technology in terms of the course outcomes, which again can be a challenge because you wonder, is this technology really helping my students meet the course outcomes, or is it just nice to have? Or is there a technology that would be really helpful, but I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with it yet? I've seen it both ways before. And really experimenting is the best way to figure out the answers to all of those hard design challenge questions. Really, when it comes down to it, your course is just a continuous improvement, and that's the big theme, I think, from this week, is your course is always in progress. Your course is never done. You're never going to teach the same course twice. It's that way in a face-to-face course, so the online courses should be the same way. You might go 5 semesters and have an assignment work really well for students, and then one semester, all your students misunderstand the directions, so you have to go in and tweak the directions anyway. You may have a technology that works great for 5 years, and then you go in and realize that it's not working so well anymore and you need to find something else. Sometimes it doesn't happen for that long. Sometimes you try something for a semester and boy, it just didn't work the way you wanted to, or the technology you had didn't work the way you wanted to, so you have to make those tweaks here and there. So, keep that in mind. Your course is always in progress. Your course is never done. You always are going to be making updates to videos. If you have videos in your class, you're always going to be updating the technology to keep up with the latest trends. You're always going to be tweaking little things in your course to help with your students, to help them succeed in the course. And so when you think about your course design as a never-ending process, it becomes a lot easier to handle because you can just do little pieces at a time instead of trying to do a full revision all the time if things aren't working for you. So good discussion this week for those of you that did participate, and we look forward to seeing you next week for assessment. Thanks.